Salutations, all, and welcome back to another kitchen adventure. We thank you for stopping by. As you may know, it is the most wonderful time of the year. If you don't pay bills, if you're not helping put up the tree, you sit on the couch while I decorate the house, you don't actually have to buy gifts for anybody because you don't have a job and you're at that age where no one expects you to do anything other than draw a card and tell me that you love me. Tell that person that they are loved and thought of. It is the most wonderful time of the year. Fighting traffic around the mall so I can get you those things that you're not going to play with. You're going to leave on the floor, so I have to yell at you about cleaning your room. I'm not bitter because I love you, and I'm glad that you are all here. So, holiday season, it is a crisp 17 degrees here in the Lone Star State because, as you know, God blessed Texas with his own hand. He just hadn't washed them at that particular time. He was busy with a lot of other stuff. He got caught up. We do what we do. Anyway, enough of that. So today we're going to do a little mix of foods here. We're going to make a little holiday meal here in the house, if you will. Really just a reason to cook something. We're going to make a beverage. We're going to make a nice hot stew to keep our bellies full and warm on a cold day like this. And we're going to knock out a dessert. So we're going to start off with our beverage. And the beverage that we're making today is called Coquito. Say it with me now. Coquito. Coquito is a Puerto Rican beverage. It's some people call it a Puerto Rican eggnog, but it actually doesn't require any eggs at all. Eggnog is gross, and if you disagree, I will fight you. So we'll also be making that beef stew. We're gonna throw some mushrooms, potatoes in there, a little tomato. It's gonna be delicious. And then to finish it all off, we're gonna make some banana Fosters. Why? Do you really need a reason? Do we need a reason? No, we don't need a reason. So, coquito, beef stew, bananas Fosters. Let's get into this. So the first thing we're going to do, let's look at the ingredients we're going to need for this coquito. So you're going to want some evaporated milk, your brand, your choice, doesn't really matter. You want some cream of coconut. Now you can get the cream of coconut in the can like this, but I also found it in a nice little squeeze bottle at the local liquor store like that. So either or, squeeze bottle, can, doesn't really matter. But cream of coconut. You want to use some condensed milk. So you've got evaporated and now condensed. It's a nice little caramel hack with that condensed. You want some Puerto Rican rum. We've got the Bacardi coconut. Now I've got the darker rum too because I also make a chocolate and I'm working on a pecan flavored coquito. Of course, some vanilla. Fresh vanilla bean would be best if you're fancy. A little nutmeg there and a little bit of cinnamon as well. So all we're going to do is we're going to dump all of this into our blender. This is a 56-ounce blender cup, just FYI, 56-ounce blender cup. Of course, you can also make this drink without the liquor, so you can serve the little ones, maybe a little imitation rum flavor, so they can feel like grown-ups without all the responsibility. But really all we're going to do is we're going to pour all of this stuff in here. I'm not really measuring. You can go by the cans, but when it comes to the adult portions, we just kind of eyeball it. The funny little thing about this drink, anybody from the island will tell you, a lot of people make it in so many different ways. They add all kinds of different things to it to flavor it. Then a lot of times they'll take it and they will bury it and let it do its thing a little bit longer. This absolutely delicious drink though. So we got a big heaping tablespoon of the condensed milk going in that bad boy there. Hit it with our vanilla. And then there with the warm, good stuff right there. And don't forget, you can always add more later, but you can't take away. So let's get it blended up first, give it a taste, And if you feel like you need a little more hooch, then by all means. All right, hitting it with our dry spices. Remember our nutmeg and our cinnamon. And then the easy part. Now, don't be like me and be a goof. Make sure you secure the lid before you start using the blender. As long as I've done this, I should absolutely know better. This will be the second time I've made a mess in the kitchen this week. So we're going to secure that up. I went and grabbed my spoon so that we could give it a nice little taste. Make sure it's right where we want it. And then once we've got it done, we're going to get this and put it in the cooler or even the freezer. You want to serve it as cold as you can possibly get it. And it is spot on. So moving on to our stew. My pan is nice and hot. We had that going while we were blending up our drink. And we want to put a little bit of oil just to get us started off. So we're going in with a little white onion. You can use yellow, white, whatever you prefer. And we're going to leave that onion cooking for just a little bit. You know, right when it starts to get a little color, that's when we're going to start adding the rest of our stuff. We're not really trying to cook it down, though you could, and it'll really enhance the flavor of that stew if you caramelize those onions all the way down. Going in with my nice tablespoon of garlic. You know how much I love my garlic in this house. We'll let that cook for another few seconds, and now we're going to go in with our carrot, small diced on the carrots. And you know those are going to take a little bit longer to get tender, so that's why we're putting them in next. So we'll get that process started with those. Last but not least, we're going to go in with our celery. Now, celery doesn't really need to cook that long, right? We're just throwing it in there for that flavor. So we're not going to let this sit for too much longer before we add the rest of our goods. Give it a nice once over stir. I'm going to hit it with a little salt and pepper. Season to taste, remember, it's up to you. And then we're going in with our nice golden potatoes. So ideally what we're going to do is once we're going to add our beef stock, right? So we're going with the beef stock, and we're going to cook this until our potatoes are tender. And the reason we're doing it this way today is because I had leftover beef tenderloin, so it's already cooked. So once we add our beef, we'll just be heating it through at that point. All right. So the last thing that we're going to do is we're going to add our little bouquet of herbs there, right? I forgot at this point, we had to take it back. So I've got some fresh rosemary, fresh thyme, a little bay leaf tied in there, tied up with some twine. And I will shove that down in there and secure it to the handle so it doesn't move all around. Now, you see I added some biscuits. We knocked those out. And we got it at a boil. So at this point, if you'd like to thicken it, right, if you don't want it super soupy, you can hit it with a little slurry. And remember, our slurry is cold water and cornstarch. You'd hit it at this point, before we add our beef in. So our potatoes are tender, and now we're going to add this delicious beef. Now you're going to look at this and you're like, Lucky, but it's red. It's not done. Yes, it is. Don't be a savage. Never cook your prime or your tenderloins to well done. You are wasting your money, but that's a whole nother video. Now the beef was also seasoned with salt, pepper, some garlic, rosemary, and thyme as well. So it's just going to further push those flavors with the stew. And we're going to turn down the heat because, like I said, this beef is done. We don't really want to overcook it. We just want to heat it through. So we're going to turn it down and let it simmer. And we're going to add our mushrooms. I kind of went a little small with the pot. Got a little carried away. But the mushrooms will cook down, so we can always add some more later on in the process. All right. So we move the stew off to the side, and we're going to go in with our banana Fosters. For the banana Fosters, make sure your pan is really nice and hot, all right? Nice and hot. Throw our bananas in there, and then we're going to hit it with a little mixture of brown sugar and regular granulated sugar. And that's going to begin the sauce making process. Sizzle, 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 sizzle. Those are the noises you can't hear. So here comes our brown sugar and plain sugar. And you will see pretty much immediately once we start moving the bananas around, that starts to caramelize deliciously. I wish that you could smell it. You can also add in a little bit of cinnamon as well into this, or a little nutmeg. It's your choice into your sugar mix. You can see it's cooking up. I mean, immediately starts to caramelize right on those bananas. So we're gonna add in a little bit of our vanilla, our vanilla imitation vanilla, whatever. And on an open flame, when that pan is really hot like that, that vanilla will light because it does have a little bit of alcohol in it. And then we're gonna gum in with a little bit of that rum. All right. Now I don't have a gas flame here, but I did bring the fire with me. So we're gonna burn off some of this alcohol and try not to burn up our camera whilst we do it. All right, once we've got that alcohol burnt off, we're gonna let that sauce simmer down and it will start to reduce and thicken. Then we're gonna go on with our heavy cream. We're gonna get that mixed in really nice. Such a sexy dish coming together. Now keep in mind, as it's hot and it's cooking, it's gonna evaporate. That sauce will begin to thicken on its own. And you're gonna wanna make sure you cut your bananas a little bit thick so that they don't turn to complete mush throughout this process, right? Unless you just like it that way. And then we're gonna finish it off with some butter. If you didn't know, this is something you're gonna find a lot in New Orleans associated with Louisiana. It is a French-inspired dish, so there will always be butter and cream added to a dish like this. At the very least, the butter. I mean, why not? Now, while this is on the stove doing its thing, I've also taken some pound cake, sliced it pretty thick, and I went ahead and toasted that. What I'm doing there was trying to see if how well it coated the back of that spoon. So we're good to go. Our sauce is going to thicken up tight, nice for us. Got my toasted pound cake right here. I toasted it butter free. There was no point in being a glutton. And just because, we want to push our sugar levels to the max, we're going to go ahead and hit it with the whipped cream. Oh, not that one. Not that one. Let's use the one for the kids. Whipped cream sound. That's it. Banana Fosters. Easy peasy. All right. Let's do the stew. No. Let's do the drink. I mean, I feel like I shouldn't have to explain this to you. You're going to take the drink. You're going to pour the drink. We're going to top the drink. We're going to drink the drink. Just to add a little pizzazz, I'm going to throw a little toasted coconut on top, which makes it really hard to get out of this little glass. You have to really fight through that whipped cream, but it's cute, right? I mean, look at it. I mean, nothing really special here. You take your stew, you put it in a bowl. It is crazy hot. You notice we are missing the tomatoes, but there is reason for that, and we will get to that in just a moment. But I mean, it's pretty straightforward, right? All right. So that is the end of this adventure. I hope it was easy for you to work through. A few little things that we can do. I did have some tomatoes that we were going to add to the stew, but you can see I went with a smaller pot, and the kiddo didn't want them, so we omitted that. Now, if you're questioning why there's such a small glass of the coquito, um, once you taste it, you'll understand. You're definitely going to want to take a little time, take it slow, enjoy it, have some discipline, because this has quite a bit of the good stuff in it, and it will lay you out. It is absolutely delicious. Now, I also use the darker rum, when I do the coquito, when I'm making a different flavor. So I have some chocolate in the refrigerator there as well. Make sure you serve it as cold as you possibly can. It's actually cold enough here. You can probably leave it outside for a little while, and it should be pretty good. Serve it super cold. It is absolutely delicious. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Comment. Let me know what you think. Let me know what you want to see us do. I'm telling you, there hasn't been anything that we have met that we can't cook. So thanks for coming and stopping by. I hope you guys have a grand holiday and a happy new year.